Captain Jinho stood on the bridge of the Aegis and stared at the massive space station ahead. He had never seen anything like it. The station orbited two bright stars that spun around each other in an endless dance. Hundreds of alien ships floated nearby, each one different from the last. Some looked like crystals. Others moved like living creatures. A few were just impossible shapes that hurt to look at. "We're being hailed," said his communications officer. Jinho nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered. A face appeared that was not human. It had too many eyes and skin that glowed with soft blue light. When it spoke, the translator made its voice sound cold and mechanical. "Human vessel, you will dock at Port 73. Your ambassador is already waiting inside. Do not deviate from the assigned path." The screen went dark before Jinho could respond. He felt a flash of anger but pushed it down. Earth had sent him here to observe, not to start a fight. Not yet, anyway. Inside the station, Ambassador Yuna waited in a room that was too large for comfort. The ceiling stretched up so high she couldn't see the top. Around her, 7 different species of aliens sat in chairs that floated in the air. Each one looked down at her. She stood on the floor far below them, and she understood the message clearly. They wanted her to feel small. The being in the center chair was massive. It looked like it was made of pure crystal, with light dancing inside its body. This was Velmoth, the leader of the Galactic Council. It had ruled for over 1,000 years, or so the briefing files had said. "Human," Velmoth said. Its voice echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. "We have watched your species for 50 of your years. We have seen enough." Yuna kept her face calm. "The people of Earth are honored to meet the Council. We hope to build a friendship that will benefit all of us." A harsh sound filled the room. It took Yuna a moment to realize it was laughter. A reptilian creature with red scales leaned forward. This was Threx, commander of something called the Krell Dominion. "Friendship?" Threx hissed. "You barbarians know nothing of friendship. We have seen your history, war after war, weapons that can destroy your own planet. You fight each other over scraps of land and different ideas. You are a danger to yourselves and to the galaxy." Yuna felt her jaw tighten. "We have had conflicts, yes, but we learned from them. We are united now. We have achieved peace on our world." "Temporary peace," another alien said. This one looked like a large insect with too many legs. "Your species is too young, too violent. You cannot be trusted." Velmoth raised one crystalline hand. The room fell silent. "The Council has reached a decision. We will present our terms. You will accept them." Yuna waited. Her heart pounded, but she kept her breathing steady. "First," Velmoth continued, "you will dismantle all military spacecraft. Every weapon in space must be destroyed. Second, you will accept limits on your technology. We will monitor all research and stop any dangerous developments. Third, you will have observer status only in this council. You may watch, but you have no voice and no vote. These terms are final." The room went quiet. Yuna felt like she was falling, but her feet stayed on the ground. This was worse than any scenario Earth had planned for. They weren't being invited to join the galaxy. They were being crippled. "And if we refuse?" she asked softly. Threx showed his teeth. "Then we will help you understand. Our ships already surround your star system. 2,000 vessels wait for our command. If you refuse, we will take apart your space capability piece by piece. We will destroy every satellite, every station, every ship. Your species will stay on its small planet for the next 1,000 years." "You have 30 of your days to comply," Velmoth said. "We suggest you choose wisely." The floating chairs began to move away. The council was leaving. The meeting was over. "Wait," Yuna called out. "Let me speak with my government. Let us discuss this." Velmoth paused and looked back. For a moment, something like pity crossed its alien features. There is nothing to discuss, human. This is how things are. This is how they have always been. We are the Council. We have maintained order in this galaxy for 10,000 years. Accept our wisdom or suffer the consequences. Then they were gone, and Yuna stood alone in the giant empty room. On the Aegis, Jinho received the message from Yuna. He read it 3 times, hoping the words would change. They didn't. He thought about his crew, about Earth, about everyone he knew. Then he thought about something his grandmother had told him when he was young. "The nail that sticks up gets hammered down," she had said. "But sometimes, Jinho, the nail is made of steel, and sometimes the hammer breaks." He began writing the message that would travel faster than light back to Earth. He chose each word carefully because he knew what they would mean. War or surrender. Freedom or chains. He thought humanity had moved past such choices, but here in the cold dark of space, the old questions had returned. Back on Earth, in the emergency council room buried deep underground, Admiral Hana read the message aloud. Around her sat the leaders of the United Earth government. No one spoke for a long time after she finished. Finally, someone asked the question they all feared. "Can we fight them? 2,000 ships against our 200? Hana looked at the data on her screen. The numbers were bad. The odds were worse. But she thought about history, about all the times humanity had faced impossible odds. She thought about soldiers who held lines they shouldn't have held, about pilots who flew missions they shouldn't have survived, about people who refused to quit even when quitting made sense. "I don't know if we can fight them," she said quietly, "but I know we won't kneel." The vote was called. It was unanimous. Earth would send its answer in 30 days, but everyone in that room already knew what it would be. They had 29 days to prepare for war. In space, more council ships arrived around Earth's sun. They formed a wall of metal and weapons. On their bridges, alien commanders prepared for what they thought would be an easy victory. They had defeated hundreds of species before. They had brought order to the galaxy through strength and fear. One more primitive species would not be a challenge. But they had made one critical mistake. They had studied humanity's history and seen only war. They had looked at Earth and seen only violence. What they failed to understand was that humanity had learned from every single one of those wars. Every defeat had taught them something new. Every victory had been won with sacrifice and innovation. The Council had 10,000 years of peace. Humanity had 10,000 years of war. And in 30 days, they would discover which was the better teacher. The countdown had begun. The emergency meeting had been going for 6 hours. Admiral Hana stood at the front of the room, her uniform crisp despite the lack of sleep. Behind her, screens showed the Council fleet surrounding Earth's solar system. The red dots outnumbered the blue ones by 10 to 1. "They have us surrounded," said General Taeyang, studying the display. He was old enough to remember the last war on Earth before the Unity. His hair was gray, but his eyes were sharp. 2,000 ships in a sphere formation around our sun. Classic blockade." "Classic means predictable," said a younger voice. Everyone turned to look at Somin, who sat in front of a bank of computers. She was barely 30, but she had broken more enemy codes than anyone else in the fleet. "I've been analyzing their communication patterns. They use the same protocols they've used for centuries. It's like they never expected anyone to challenge them." Hana moved closer. "Can you break their encryption?" Somin smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Already did. I'm reading their messages in real time. Want to know something interesting? They're bored. Half their ships are on minimal alert. They think this is just a show of force. They don't actually expect to fight." "Good," Hana said. "Keep monitoring them. Any advantage is worth taking." The door opened, and Dr. Minji entered. She carried a datapad and looked like she hadn't slept in days. Behind her came 3 assistants, all carrying sealed cases. "Tell me you have something," Hana said. Minji set the datapad on the table. "We have 3 things, actually. First, the quantum disruptor weapons are ready. We've installed them on 50 ships. They won't just damage enemy vessels, they'll make their shields useless for several minutes." Taeyang leaned forward. "That's new technology. How do we know it works?" "We tested it yesterday on our old satellite network. Turned off every shield in a 1,000-kilometer radius." Minji pulled up a video. "It works." "What else?" Hana asked. "Stealth systems. Not true invisibility, but close enough. We can hide our energy signatures for up to 6 hours. After that, the systems need to cool down, but 6 hours is enough to get behind enemy lines." "And the third thing?" Minji hesitated. "This one is risky. We've been working on an experimental faster-than-light drive. It's not like the jump drives everyone uses. Those are predictable. You input coordinates, you arrive. Our system can make micro-jumps, short distances, but impossible to track. A ship could jump forward a few thousand kilometers, fire weapons, and jump again before the enemy can respond." The room went silent. Hana stared at the data. "How risky?" 5% chance of catastrophic failure. The ship could tear itself apart. "And if it works?" "We become the most dangerous fleet in the galaxy." Hana made her decision in 3 seconds. "Install it on every ship that volunteers. No one flies with that drive unless they choose to." A message alert beeped. Salman checked her screen and her face went pale. "Admiral, you need to see this." Everyone crowded around her station. On the screen was a decoded message from deep in the Council network. It showed plans, detailed plans, for what would happen if Earth refused to surrender. "They're not just planning to destroy our ships," Sumin said quietly. "Look at Section 7. Hana read it, her hands clenched into fists. "They're planning to use biological weapons. If we fight back, they'll release a plague designed specifically for humans." "Can they do that?" someone asked. "They've done it before," Soman said. She pulled up more files. 3 times in the last 5,000 years, 3 species refused to obey the Council. All 3 are extinct now. The Council erased them and then erased the records. Only their classified files remember. The room erupted in angry voices. Hana let them shout for 30 seconds, then slammed her hand on the table. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Everyone went quiet. "Listen to me," she said. Her voice was cold and hard. "We always knew this might be a fight for survival. Now we know for certain. This isn't about pride or politics anymore. If we lose, humanity ends. Not just our freedom, everything, every human who has ever lived, every child who will never be born. They all depend on what we do in the next 29 days. "Then we fight," Taeyang said. "We fight smart," Hana corrected. "Somin, keep breaking their codes. I want to know every move they make before they make it. Minji, push the weapon development as hard as you can. We need every advantage. Taeyang, start running battle simulations. Find their weaknesses." "And what about the ambassador?" someone asked. "Yuna is still with the Council." Hana had thought about this. "We'll bring her home. But first, she has a job to do." Across the galaxy, Yuna sat in her small room on the Council station. She had been given quarters that were comfortable but isolated. Guards stood outside her door. They were polite but firm. She was not a prisoner, they said. She was a guest. But guests did not usually have armed guards. Her communication device beeped. It was encrypted, using codes that only Earth knew. She read the message twice, then deleted it. The words burned in her memory. The next day, she requested a meeting with Velmoth. To her surprise, it was granted. She was led through corridors that curved in ways that made no sense. The architecture here was designed by beings who thought in more dimensions than humans. Velmoth received her in a smaller chamber. The crystalline being sat on a throne that seemed to grow from the floor. Light pulsed through its body in patterns that might have been thoughts. "You wish to discuss the terms?" Velmoth asked. "I wish to understand them," Yuna said. "My government has questions." "There is nothing to understand. Comply or suffer. It is simple." "But why?" Yuna asked. "We want to join the galaxy. We want to trade, to share knowledge, to grow. Why treat us as enemies?" Velmoth's light pulsed faster. "Because you are dangerous. Your species has the capacity for great violence. We have seen it in your history. Billions dead in your wars. Weapons that can crack planets. You turned your own world into a near wasteland and only barely saved yourselves. What happens when you bring that violence to the stars?" "We learned from our mistakes," Yuna said. "We're better now." "Are you?" Velmoth leaned forward. "Or are you simply united against an external threat? Us? How long before you fight among yourselves again? How long before your weapons threaten not just yourselves but other species?" Yuna realized something then. Velmoth was not cruel. It was afraid. The entire council was afraid. They had maintained peace for 10,000 years by controlling every species, limiting every threat. Humanity was something new, something they could not control, so they would destroy it instead. "I understand," Yuna said softly. "Thank you for your honesty." She left the chamber knowing that diplomacy had failed before it began. The council would never see humans as partners, only threats. Back on Earth, the preparations continued. Shipyards worked around the clock. Every person with skills was called to help. Retired pilots returned to service. Scientists abandoned their projects to work on weapons. Factories that made cars now made missiles. And Captain Jinho trained his crews. He personally visited every ship, met every captain. He looked them in the eyes and saw the same thing in all of them. Fear, yes, but also determination. They understood what was at stake. "We're not trying to win," he told them in the ready room of the Aegis. 50 captains looked back at him. "We're trying to survive, and humans are very, very good at surviving." On day 28, Earth sent its response to the Council. The message was short, only 3 words. "We respectfully decline." Across the galaxy, alarms began to sound. The Council had been defied for the first time in 1,000 years. Threx smiled and gave the order to advance. His fleet began moving toward Earth, and in the dark between the stars, 50 human ships activated their new stealth systems and vanished from every sensor. They began moving to positions behind the Council fleet. Admiral Hana watched the tactical display and allowed herself a cold smile. The Council had taught the galaxy the rules of their kind of war. Formal, predictable, civilized. Humanity was about to teach them a different kind. Captain Jinho floated in the dark. Around him, 49 other ships drifted in perfect silence. Their stealth systems made them invisible to every known sensor. They were ghosts in the void, waiting. "Position report," he said quietly into his headset. "We're 3,000 kilometers behind the Council's rear formation," his navigator replied. "They have no idea we're here." Jinho watched his tactical display. The Council fleet was massive. 2,000 ships moving toward Earth in perfect formation. They looked beautiful in a terrible way. Each ship was different, built by a different species, but they all moved together like parts of a machine. "Somin, what are they saying?" Jinho asked. On Earth, Somin listened to the intercepted communications. "They're confident. Threx is giving a speech about teaching primitives their place. Most ships are at 60% alert status. They're treating this like a parade." "Good," Jinho said. "The more confident they are, the better." He opened the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, this is Jinho. You know the plan. We hit them fast, we hit them hard, and we don't stop moving. Dr. Minji, are the quantum disruptors ready?" "Ready on all ships," Minji's voice came back. She was on a vessel called the Thunder. First volley will drop their shields. After that, conventional weapons should work fine. Remember, Jinho said, we're not trying to destroy them all. We're trying to make them afraid. Fear is a weapon, too. On Earth, Admiral Hana watched the same tactical display. The Council fleet was now only 1 million kilometers from Earth, close enough to launch an attack, far enough to give Jinho time to strike first. All defensive platforms are active, General Taeyang reported. If any of their ships get through, we'll be ready. They won't get through, Hana said with a certainty she didn't quite feel. The next voice that came through was Yuna's. She had managed to steal a shuttle and escape the Council station hours before. Hana, I'm picking up chatter on the Council networks. They're not expecting resistance. Velmoth ordered them to fire warning shots first. They still think we'll surrender. Then let's show them how wrong they are, Hana said. She opened the command channel. Jinho, you are cleared to engage. Teach them what happens when you threaten Earth. In the dark, Jinho smiled. All ships, activate weapons. On my mark. He counted down from 3. Mark. 50 ships dropped their stealth systems. For 1 second, the Council fleet's sensors registered them. Alarms screamed warnings, officers shouted orders, and then the quantum disruptors fired. The weapons were invisible to the naked eye, but their effect was not. Across 100 Council ships, shield generators simply stopped working. Energy fields collapsed. Defensive systems went offline. The ships were suddenly naked in the void. Fire everything, Jinho ordered. Missiles launched, railguns fired, laser batteries unleashed streams of coherent light. The human ships had been built for war. The Council ships had been built to intimidate. The difference showed immediately. The first Council ship died in seconds. Its hull cracked open and atmosphere vented into space. The second ship tried to turn, tried to bring weapons to bear, but a human ship appeared right next to it. The experimental jump drive had worked. The ship fired at point-blank range, then jumped away before the dying vessel could return fire. "They're scattering!" someone shouted. The neat formation broke apart. Council ships tried to turn, tried to find the enemy, but the human vessels were already moving. Jump, fire, jump again. They appeared and disappeared like ghosts, like demons. Threx stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the chaos. How are they doing this? Where are they coming from? Unknown, War Master, his tactical officer said. The reptilian's voice shook. They're using some kind of short-range teleportation. Our computers can't track them. Then fire everywhere, Threx roared. Saturate the space with weapons. But blind firing only made things worse. Council ships began hitting each other in the confusion. A Krell Dominion vessel accidentally destroyed an Allied cruiser. The formation collapsed completely. Jinho watched his tactical display with cold satisfaction. Squadron Alpha, focus on their command ships. Beta, take out their heavy cruisers. Gamma, protect Alpha and Beta. Let's keep this beautiful chaos going. The battle lasted 6 hours. At the end, 400 Council ships were destroyed or disabled. Threx's flagship was a burning wreck, held together only by emergency force fields. The War Master himself was evacuated to a smaller vessel. Human losses were 12 ships. 12 crews who had volunteered to fly with experimental drives. Some had torn themselves apart in the jumps. Others had been caught by lucky shots, but they had hurt the Council badly. All ships, begin withdrawal, Jinho ordered. Fall back to Earth defensive perimeter. As the human fleet vanished back into the dark, the Council forces finally managed to regroup. But the damage was done, not just to their ships, but to their confidence. An enemy they had dismissed as primitive had just defeated them. On Earth, crowds gathered in the streets. They watched the live feeds and cheered. Some cried. All of them felt the same thing. Pride. Their species had been threatened, and they had fought back. But in the command center, Hana did not celebrate. She studied the reports and frowned. We hurt them. We didn't stop them. They still have over 1,500 ships. We have less than 200. But now they're afraid, Taeyang said. That has to count for something. Fear makes people desperate, Hana replied. And desperate people do terrible things. She was right. On the council station, Velmoth convened an emergency meeting. The crystalline being's light pulsed with what might have been anger. This is unprecedented, one council member said. It was a floating jellyfish-like creature. We have never suffered such losses. We underestimated them, admitted another. Their technology is more advanced than we thought. It doesn't matter, Threx said. He was attending by hologram, his real body still recovering from injuries. We still outnumber them. We gather our forces and crush them completely. No mercy. No quarter. And if they resist again? The jellyfish asked. Threx's hologram smiled. It was not a pleasant sight. Then we use the biological weapon, the plague that was designed for carbon-based life forms. We sterilize Earth entirely. Velmoth should have objected. In 10,000 years of rule, the Council had been harsh, but not genocidal. But the crystalline being's pride was wounded. Its authority had been challenged. And pride, as humans had learned long ago, could make anyone do terrible things. Prepare the weapon, Velmoth said, but do not deploy it yet. Give the humans one more chance to surrender. If they refuse again, we will show the galaxy what happens to species who defy the Council. Far from the Council chamber, in a maintenance tunnel that nobody monitored, an amphibious creature named Ixta listened to the meeting through hacked communications. Ixta had been a member of the Council for 200 years. In that time, Ixta had seen the Council become corrupt. Power had made them cruel. When the meeting ended, Ixta made a decision that would change everything. Using an encrypted channel that even Soman would have trouble breaking, Ixta sent a message to Earth. The message contained 3 things: the location of the biological weapon, the access codes to reach it, and a simple sentence. Not all of us agree with this madness. On Earth, Somin received the message and nearly fell out of her chair. She read it 3 times, checked the encryption, and ran every verification protocol she knew. The message was real. Someone on the Council was helping them. She ran to find Hana. The Admiral was in a planning session, trying to figure out how to survive the next attack. Soman burst through the door without knocking. "We have a problem," Soman said, "and maybe a solution. You need to see this." Hana read the message. Her face went pale. "They have a plague weapon?" "According to this, yes, designed to target human DNA specifically. If they release it, everyone on Earth dies within weeks." The room went silent. Finally, Taeyang spoke. "Then we need to destroy it." "It's on their main station," Soman said. "Terminus Prime, the same place where the Council meets. It's the most heavily defended location in the galaxy." "Then we'll attack it," Jinho said. He had just arrived from the Aegis. His uniform was scorched and torn, but he was alive. "We strike at their heart. Destroy the weapon. Take out their leadership. End this war before they can kill us all." "That's insane," someone said. "We just barely survived fighting their fleet. Their station will have 10 times the defenses." "Maybe," Jinho said. "But they won't expect it. We just proved we can make impossible jumps. What if we jumped directly to their station? Got inside before they could stop us?" Hana thought about it. The idea was crazy. It was desperate. It was exactly the kind of thing that might actually work. "How many ships would we need?" she asked. 50 for the space battle. 100 Marines for the boarding action." "We don't have time for a vote," Hana said. "I'm making the decision. We do it. Jinho, you lead the fleet. Nari, you lead the boarding team. Soman, you keep breaking their codes. The rest of you, prepare our defenses here. If we fail, Earth needs to be ready." As everyone rushed to their posts, Hana allowed herself one moment of doubt. They were about to attack the most powerful station in the galaxy with a handful of ships and 100 soldiers. It should be impossible. But then, everything they had done so far should have been impossible. And they were still alive. Commander Nari checked her armor one last time. The powered suit was a work of art and engineering, built to let a human survive in any environment. Behind her, 99 other Marines did the same. They were the best soldiers Earth had. Now they were about to do something that should be impossible. "Listen up," Nari said to her team. They were crammed into the belly of an assault ship called the Hammer. "Our mission is simple. Get to the council chamber, secure the leadership, destroy the biological weapon. Don't die. Questions?" "Just one," said a young Marine named Day. "What do we do if we meet something we can't fight?" Nari smiled inside her helmet. "Then we fight it anyway. That's what humans do." Above them, Captain Jinho prepared the fleet. 50 ships surrounded the Hammer. They would jump together, appear right next to Terminus Prime Station, and cause as much chaos as possible while Nari's team went inside. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer said. Jinho opened the fleet channel. "This is it. Everything we've fought for comes down to the next hour. If we succeed, we change the galaxy. If we fail, at least we fail fighting. Either way, humanity will be remembered. Jump coordinates locked?" "Locked and confirmed," the navigator said. "Jumping in 3, 2, 1. The universe twisted. For a fraction of a second, Jinho existed in two places at once. Then reality snapped back together and they were there. Terminus Prime filled their view screen. The station was enormous, easily 100 kilometers across. Weapons platforms covered its surface like scales on a dragon. "They're targeting us!" someone shouted. "Evasive maneuvers," Jinho ordered. "All ships, engage defensive positions. Hammer, you have 60 seconds to reach that docking port. Make them count." The Hammer dove toward the station. Weapons fire filled the space around it. The pilot, a woman named Bora, flew like she was dancing with death. She twisted the ship through impossible angles, always just ahead of the targeting systems. 30 seconds, she said calmly. Behind them, the rest of the human fleet engaged the station's defenses. It was not a fair fight. The station had 1,000 weapon platforms, but the human ships had something the station didn't: desperation and the ability to jump. A human destroyer appeared right next to a weapons platform, fired at point-blank range, then jumped away before the explosion could reach it. Another ship drew fire from 10 different platforms, then jumped behind them. The platforms, still firing, hit each other. 10 seconds, Bora said. "Brace for impact," Nari told her Marines. The Hammer didn't dock gently. It crashed through an airlock like a battering ram. Atmosphere vented, alarms screamed, and 100 human Marines poured into Terminus Prime. Nari was the first through the breach. Her armor's sensors painted the corridor in shades of green. 2 alien guards stood at the end. They looked shocked. They had never been attacked here, in the heart of Council power. "Non-lethal if possible," Nari ordered. "Move!" The Marines rushed forward. The guards raised weapons but hesitated. That moment of hesitation was all it took. Nari's team stunned them both and kept moving. "Somin, we're inside," Nari said into her communicator. "Where's the weapon?" On Earth, Somin studied the schematics that Ixta had provided. "You need to go down 7 levels. The biological weapon is in a vault near the station's core, but Nari, the council chamber is in the opposite direction." "I know. We're splitting up. Team Alpha, follow me to the weapon. Team Bravo, secure the council chamber. Team Charlie, hold our exit." The Marines split into 3 groups. Nari took 30 soldiers and headed down. The corridors of Terminus Prime were not built for humans. They curved in strange ways. Gravity shifted without warning. But the Marines adapted. Humans were good at adapting. They encountered more guards. A firefight erupted in a corridor that spiraled like a spiral shell. Nari's armor took 3 hits but held. She returned fire, not to kill but to drive them back. They didn't have time for a prolonged battle. "Blow the door," she ordered when they reached the vault. A Marine named Kangman placed charges. The explosion was contained, but powerful. The vault door fell inward. Inside, in a chamber that glowed with blue light, they found it. The biological weapon. It didn't look dangerous. It was just a small canister, no bigger than a water bottle. But according to Ixta's information, it contained enough engineered viruses to kill every human on Earth. "Dr. Minji, are you seeing this?" Nari asked. She had a camera on her helmet. "I see it," Minji replied from the thunder. "Don't touch it directly. Use the containment case we gave you." Nari pulled out a special case made of materials that could hold anything. She carefully placed the canister inside and sealed it. "Got it. Team Alpha, fall back to the hammer." But then alarms began to sound throughout the station. A voice echoed through the corridors in a dozen languages. The message was simple. "Intruders detected. Security protocols activated. Council chamber sealed." Nari cursed. Team Bravo was in trouble. She made a split-second decision. "Team Alpha, get this weapon back to the ship. I'm going to help Bravo." "Commander, your orders are now changed. Move." She ran through the twisting corridors toward the council chamber. Her armor's computer guided her, but she could hear the sounds of combat ahead. Heavy weapons fire, explosions, screaming. Team Bravo had reached the chamber, but found it defended by the council's elite guards. These weren't regular soldiers. They were trained warriors from a dozen species, each one dangerous in different ways. Nari arrived to find her Marines pinned down. A massive creature that looked like an armored bear was advancing on their position. Its skin was too thick for their weapons. She checked her ammo. 3 armor-piercing rounds left. "Cover me," she said, and charged. The creature saw her coming and roared. It swiped with a claw that could cut through steel. Nari slid under it. Her armor's servos giving her speed no unarmored human could match. She came up behind it and fired all 3 rounds into the base of its skull. The creature fell, but there were more. Always more. Inside the council chamber, Velmoth and the other council members listened to the sounds of battle. They had sealed themselves inside, confident their guards would handle the intruders. "This is madness," the jellyfish creature said. "They're attacking us directly here in our own station." "It's desperation," Threx said. Even wounded, he had insisted on attending. "They know we were about to destroy them. This is a last desperate strike." "It won't work," Velmoth said. "We have thousands of guards. They have 100 soldiers. Mathematics alone ensures their defeat." But then the door to the chamber exploded inward. Through the smoke and fire walked Commander Nari. Her armor was scorched and dented. One arm hung limp, but she was still moving, still fighting. Behind her came 30 Marines, just as battered, just as determined. "Council," Nari said. Her voice was transmitted through her helmet speakers. "You are under arrest for crimes against sapient species." Velmoth's crystal body flashed bright with anger. "You dare, you primitive creature, you dare enter this sacred chamber with weapons?" "You were going to kill every person on my planet," Nari said. "Yeah, I dare." Outside, the space battle raged. Jinho's fleet was holding, barely. They had destroyed dozens of weapons platforms, but more kept activating. The station had been built to withstand siege by entire fleets. "Captain, we're taking heavy damage," his tactical officer reported. "We can't hold much longer." "Just a little longer," Jinho said. He trusted Nari. She would complete the mission. On Earth, Admiral Hana watched the tactical displays. Both battles were visible. The space engagement around Terminus Prime. The life signs of the Marines inside. Too many of those signs were turning red, winking out one by one. "Come on," she whispered. "Come on." Back in the council chamber, Nari faced 7 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. They were still confident, still sure of their superiority, but Nari had seen something in Velmoth's crystal eyes. Something new. Fear. "Your weapon is gone," Nari said. "We have it. We know what you did to 3 other species. We have proof, and we're broadcasting all of it across the galaxy right now." "What?" Velmoth's light flickered. Summon's voice came through everyone's communicators. "Confirmed. I'm sending all the classified files to every species in the Council network. Everyone will know what you've done, the genocides, the threats, the tyranny." In 1,000 systems, on 1,000,000 screens, the truth began to spread. Species that had obeyed the Council for centuries saw the hidden files. They learned about the exterminated races. They learned that the Council's peace had been built on fear and murder, and across the galaxy something changed. Ships began powering up weapons, not to attack Earth, but to defend themselves from the Council. 3 species declared immediate independence. More were sure to follow. Velmoth realized what was happening. In trying to destroy one defiant species, the Council had lost control of hundreds. "You've destroyed us," Velmoth said quietly. "No," Nari replied. "We've freed them. Now surrender, or we'll finish what we started." Threx reached for a weapon. He was always a warrior first, but before he could draw it, a shot rang out. The War Master fell. Behind him stood Ixta, holding a weapon that no one had known the peaceful amphibian possessed. "Enough," Ixta said. "Enough death. Enough lies. The Council is finished. Let us end this with what little dignity we have left." Velmoth looked around the chamber, at the Marines with their weapons, at the other Council members who wouldn't meet its gaze, at Ixta, who had been a friend for centuries. Finally, the crystalline being's light dimmed in defeat. "What do you want?" Velmoth asked. Nari smiled. "I want you to meet someone. Captain Jinho, Commander Nari. The chamber is secure. Bring your ship in. We have terms to discuss."